Right now on the National Weather Desk, Hawaiian devastation. The death toll climbs and the search for the missing intensifies as communities are reduced to ash.
We saw was likely the largest natural disaster in Hawaii state history.
Hurricane watch. The updated forecast calls for an above normal season.
90% of hurricane activity occurs between the month of August and October.
Light pollution, how it could impact your ability to see this weekend's meteor shower.
The biggest culprit? Streetlights.
See how one storm damaged or destroyed 70% of a city's trees in just 1 hour. And we'll help you make a rainbow connection and show you how these beauties form.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. At least 55 deaths are now blamed on the Hawaiian wildfires, but that number is expected to rise as the unknown number of people are still missing. Many Maui residents are now asking why the state's famous emergency warning system did not alert them to these fires. Those questions come as the state focuses on rescue and also recovery. Mike Valerio has more.
Paradise lost.
It's all gone. It's gone.
To an inferno.
What we saw was likely the largest natural disaster in Hawaii state history.
The wildfires that began raging in Maui Tuesday now closer to being contained, and officials still unable to determine just how many people are still missing.
Here's the challenge. There's no power. There's no internet. There's no radio coverage.
The fires cutting a devastating path across western Maui, displacing thousands.
I'm just trying to figure out what to do from here.
And reducing the historic town of Lahaina to ash.
Everything is completely wiped out.
President Joe Biden issuing a federal disaster declaration, releasing federal aid to help the state. The U.S. Coast Guard, Navy, and National Guard are working with local authorities in search and rescue efforts, as those who called this island home prepare to face the uncertain path that lies ahead.
I feel like everything's gone. I've seen the pictures.
The fire also charged a well-known landmark of Lahaina and Maui, a 150-year-old banyan tree. You can see it here. The tree is still standing, but the base is smoldering. The tree, planted in 1873, is more than 60 feet tall and has 46 trunks that span a city block. It is still unclear whether the historic tree will survive. Of course, those fires were whipped by winds from Hurricane Dora, which was passing hundreds of miles to the south of Hawaii. While Dora has moved away, more problems could be on the way. Meteorologist Dave Selesky looks at the big picture.
But the problem's going to be, as I back this map out, there are two more strong tropical disturbances right now that will brush by the Hawaiian Islands over the next couple of days that could bring those winds back up and could cause more problems with the existing fires they have right now on both the Big Island and also on Maui. We have to keep a very close track on that now through the end of the week and going in towards the weekend.
NOAA updated its forecast for the 2023 hurricane season. It's now calling for an above normal season. Meteorologist Jennifer Grant takes a closer look at the forecast and the reasons why this could be a busier season than first expected.
Previously, they were calling for a near normal season with 12 to 17 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, and 1 to 4 major hurricanes. Well, now they're calling for 14 to 21 named storms, 6 to 11 hurricanes, and 2 to 5 major hurricanes. Now, a major hurricane is a category 3 or higher. That's winds greater than 111 miles per hour. Why are they now predicting an above normal season? Well, record warm sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic that promotes hurricane activity. This is likely going to counterbalance El Nino, which is what we've been talking about for the past couple of months. Also below normal wind shear expected that typically tears apart hurricanes. Well, we're expecting below normal forecasting through the rest of the season, and an above normal West African monsoon promotes activity in the Atlantic by producing these strong tropical waves that move across the Atlantic. 90% of hurricane activity occurs between the month of August and October, so we still have quite a ways to go until the end of the season, which is on November 30th.
The annual Perseids meteor shower peaks this weekend, and depending on where you live, viewing conditions could be ideal. The showers happen every year as the Earth moves through fields of debris floating in space. The viewing time, the best here, Saturday night into Sunday morning, and conditions could be great to see a lot of those meteors with only a sliver of moon in the sky But folks in big cities will still have challenges seeing the shower. As meteorologist Lynette Grant explains, it's all because of light pollution.
Dr. T.K. Lawless Park is designated as an international dark sky park. It is one of a few parks in the Midwest to have this designation.
We're a dark sky park because when we take night sky readings of the sky, which measures the darkness instead of the light, we qualify.
Because the park sits in a valley, little light pollution from surrounding cities and towns makes it into the sky.
Cumulatively, when you add on all the light pollution, let's say from Elkhart, South Bend, Mishawaka, that takes away from the view of the night sky.
Light pollution has a greater concentration in larger cities. The biggest culprit? Streetlights. And large quantities of light pollution can affect our health in greater ways than just our night vision.
The light pollution decreases the body's ability to produce melatonin, which helps you go to sleep at night. And they're finding now that melatonin has many cancer-fighting properties.
Back at Dr. T.K. Lawless Park, Parrish is hoping for good viewing weather of the Perseids meteor shower, and he's taking steps to ensure visitors to the park have a great viewing experience, one with as little light pollution as possible.
Home of the world's worst weather just broke another record. The Mount Washington Observatory in New Hampshire just set its all-time record for wettest summer on record with nearly 38 inches of rain. And there are still 3 weeks left of meteorological summer. The observatory also smashed the all-time record for snowiest June this year. Rising sea temperatures in the Atlantic led to heavy rain in New England this year. The Palmer Lane fire ignited near apartments, houses, and businesses in Austin, Texas. Betty Cross, though, reports the threat was so extreme it took over 200 firefighters to battle this blaze.
Flames and smoke from the Palmer Lane fire could be seen for miles. A grass fire spread to trees in the Cedar Park neighborhood and then quickly ignited the Bexley apartment complex. In addition to local firefighters, 20 other agencies and hundreds of first responders turned out to battle this blaze.
4 of the buildings here at the Bexley apartment complex were damaged. Could have been much, much worse, but for the very rapid response from our first responders here in Cedar Park, as well as our neighboring cities.
This drone video shows how much ground fire crews had to cover to protect the people living in apartments and townhomes.
There, look at that.
Cedar Park officials say the quick and effective response is thanks to a mutual aid agreement that ensures neighboring first responders assist each other in emergencies. That guaranteed help is credited with limiting what could have been more widespread damage.
This is probably the second biggest fire in my tenure here, and I've been with Cedar Park for 27 years.
The Texas A&M Forest Service also brought in bulldozers to dig a containment path around the perimeter of the fire and keep it from spreading.
Wildfires produce lots of smoke and ash. They can also create something called a pyrocumulus cloud. Meteorologist Kristen Clark explains what they are and how they form.
In late July, a lightning storm ignited a new wildfire in the northern Cascade Mountains of Washington state. The sourdough fire was initially small. However, a week later, gusty winds and tinder-dry vegetation led to erratic fire behavior, and the fire spread rapidly to over 1,000 acres. The intense heat from the fire generated buoyant bubbles of warm, moist air, creating what's called a pyrocumulus cloud. Similar to a developing thunderstorm, rising bubbles of warm air above the fire cool and condense into water droplets we see as tall, cauliflower-shaped clouds. Smoke particles provide more surface for water to condense onto. The upward movement of air draws in more oxygen to feed the fire, with burning vegetation contributing to the air's moisture. If the fire is large enough, the cloud can generate its own weather, growing into a full-fledged thunderstorm with lightning strikes possibly igniting new fires, and strong winds at the surface fueling the wildfire flames even more. Wildfires aren't the only way of producing pyrocumulus. Intense heating from a volcano or industrial emissions can also create pyrocumulus.
Virgin Atlantic launched its first space tourist into the edge of the cosmos Thursday. The rocket-powered space plane took off like an airplane from the company's spaceport in New Mexico. The vehicle ventured more than 50 miles above Earth's surface. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll talk with an expert about how trees recover from severe weather.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti. Look northeast. We're headed for a great looking day in the northeast. On your Friday, afternoon temperatures today are going to top out in the low 80s. We'll have low humidity and a stiff westerly wind. Should be a nice day area wide here. Now, as we head into Saturday, we'll start to introduce some showers and thunderstorms first in New York. That's about lunchtime or so. Most of the northeast will enjoy some nice weather Saturday. Now, Saturday night, we will see some showers and thunderstorms roll through. There's the chance for some showers and thunderstorms on Sunday as well.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the mid-Atlantic region. We start with nice and dry weather and plenty of sunshine, but as we head into the afternoon, there will be a few more clouds moving into the region. Then overnight, there's the chance for a few showers. That's how we start off for Saturday morning. It is looking better for the afternoon. Our temperatures reach the 70s, 80s, and 90s this afternoon, and then overnight we get a break from the heat, dropping to the 60s and 70s.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg with a look at your southeast regional forecast. We are looking at showers and storms moving from Alabama through Georgia. Pretty good line here, perhaps moving down towards the Jacksonville area later on in the day. The normal sea breeze initiated showers and storms through just about all of Florida will be around, producing locally heavy rain, frequent lightning, and strong wind gusts across that part of the southeast. Highs in the mid to upper 90s for much of Florida and lower 90s and upper 80s elsewhere.
The National Weather Desk.
Yesterday, we told you about a derecho that tore through Iowa 3 years ago this week. Buildings and homes around Cedar Rapids are repaired for the most part, but damage to the city's tree canopy will take decades to regrow. Rebecca Kopelman reports more than 70% of the city's trees were damaged or destroyed in just 1 hour.
As far as we know, we're not familiar with another urban area that's lost so many mature trees as Cedar Rapids did in the 2020 derecho.
Oh my.
I think that we know that the city's being impacted by the tree loss because all of us can experience those changes.
The loss of the tree canopy in eastern Iowa, and particularly the Cedar Rapids metro area, was devastating.
But trees help with air quality. They help with stormwater runoff. If we ever get storms again, they will help, take up some of the excess runoff. They provide wildlife habitat. They cool our homes.
676,000 trees were taken down in the derecho, resulting in a loss of 70% of the canopy in the city.
There's a 30-degree difference between a shade area and the cement, and that shade area is under a tree. That just goes to show kind of that micro experience that happens. And when you have mass loss of trees,
and that loss is making it harder to find shade in the hot summer months.
We know that because of climate change, people are going to be experiencing more frequent, more severe, and longer lasting heat events. And so I think as a public health element, we need to be prepared.
Even a young tree can reduce the air temperature by 9 degrees Fahrenheit. So in those heat waves, trees become important.
The hot and dry weather this year has challenged these newly planted trees as well.
The trees normally go through stress when they're planted, and then having the drought, that's just stressing those young trees out even more.
The city continues to water and plant through their relief program.
For the total plan to plant not just the 42,000 trees in the parks and the rights of way, but to help residents acquire and plant trees, the estimated cost is $37 million.
And it's pacing ahead of schedule.
By the end of this year, we'll be about 6,500, so we'll be about 2,000 beyond what the goal was for the first 2 years.
Large portions of the country have seen rain this week, resulting in downed trees, road closures, and power outages. But there's also one silver lining, some great opportunities to see rainbows. Steubenville, Ohio meteorologist Jeff Exline has a closer look at how rainbows form.
Well, portions of the country had severe weather on Monday. The Ohio Valley had storms, but also rainbow sightings. Esther Hall chimed in this photo of a rainbow. Looks like the pot of gold was in downtown Wheeling. No leprechaun sightings. Cindy Chase able to frame this rainbow, a bright one, in between the trees in St. Clairsville, Ohio. And how about some double rainbow photos that were chimed in by Denise Skaggs? And check out this majestic double rainbow chimed in by Brandon. Now, rainbows, how do you see them? Well, a couple things. The viewer must be between the sun and the rain, and it must be within a few hours of sunrise or sunset, meaning that the sun must be lower in the sky in order to see a rainbow. The rainbow will appear at the point opposite of the sun, and the larger raindrops often create brighter bands for the rainbows. Since rainbows are optical illusions, every person sees a different looking rainbow.
This summer, beaches have been closing at record rates. The reason? The rain is sending tons of bacteria into the ocean, but this is only part of the problem. Let's check out a recent TikTok post from Providence meteorologist Christina Ernie explaining why the weather is shutting down beaches all over the country.
Doesn't a day at the beach sound really nice right about now? Well, not so fast. You might want to check out your local beach, community, or even state's websites to see if there are any beach closures. We're seeing more and more beach closures every single year, especially along the East Coast. This is from increasing bacterial levels in the water. And there are two specific reasons why we're seeing an uptick in these beach closures.
The first is tons of rain. Extreme rainfall this summer, record-breaking in some cases, causes an uptick in polluted waters. Trash, oil from cars, animal waste, you name it, washes right into our catch basins and often winds up in the ocean. So for a number of days after a big rain event, the water can be contaminated and it requires the state or local municipalities to test it. In the state of Rhode Island alone, we've seen 205 beach closure days so far this summer season. The average is around 100, and we're still not done with the season, of course. Extreme heat is also an issue too, with hotter than ever ocean temperatures being recorded. Seaweed loves to grow in heat, and it's doing so earlier in the season now, making waters murky, and it helps bacteria grow. And by the way, it's not a good idea to go swimming in closed beaches. Those high bacterial levels can affect your health, diarrhea, stomach sickness, vomiting, especially not good for older individuals and infants.
Weather content. Follow us on your social media. Any social media. We're on all of your favorite platforms, sharing the latest content from our meteorologists across the country. Just search the National Weather Desk on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. When the sun goes down, we are all a little bit more on guard about our safety. In Portland, Oregon, the nighttime danger is not what most people may actually expect. A raccoon has been attacking local residents at night. Officials believe, though, she's trying to protect her young. But as Emily Gersh reports, one woman is taking matters into her own hands.
She just came charging right out.
This video taken by Jordan Barbeau's doorbell camera last Tuesday shows the horrifying scene unfold. A woman is walking her dog at night near the corner of Northwest 22nd and Johnson, and then a raccoon viciously attacks them. You can hear her yelling for help.
And the raccoon came from, past our retaining wall. I mean, it was easily 15 to 20 feet.
Barbeau thinks it's the same raccoon that attacked her husband and their two dogs 3 weeks ago. A spokesperson for the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife says the raccoon is most likely trying to protect its young from predators. But Barbeau says the attacks are unprovoked.
She's not reacting to being cornered. It's a pretty serious overreaction, and it's really alarming.
She says after seeking help from Multnomah County Animal Services and ODFW, she decided to take swifter action herself. She hired a private wildlife control operator to install this trap. Neighbors say her actions have made them feel safer.
3 dogs, 2 people have been bitten, and I'm sure it would have been more had it not been for these signs.
Barbeau says she just wants to make sure no one else is harmed.
I would suggest that folks avoid this area after dark, especially if they're walking with a dog or if they've got little kids. Just take a different route.
Time now for a short break, but first let's take in views of the Santa Cruz Pier in California from above.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Phil Kelly. We've got some heat and humidity building into the Central Plains, mid-90s to triple digits into Kansas today. We'll see some active weather into the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, parts of Illinois and Iowa. That all shifts into the Ohio Valley, heat and humidity as well. Be near 90, Columbus and Cincinnati with some rain on Saturday. Get a little bit of a lull in that rain, but that rain does return for the end of the weekend.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're waking up into the 70s and 80s. 70s to the north, mostly 80s down to the south. A little bit of a low pressure area and a warm front starting to settle up as we get more of a little bit of a southeast south flow coming through. A few little scattered showers out for West Texas, but that's pretty much it. Temperatures will go right back up into the triple digits. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, we've got the thunderstorms finally back here as we head into mid-August in the desert southwest. That monsoonal moisture kicking into high gear today around Phoenix and Tucson and back into the deserts in California and Las Vegas as well. Just 67 due to the fog through the Golden Gate Bridge, 70s and 80s in the Pacific Northwest with dry heat there this weekend. And again, the monsoonal moisture over the Four Corners. And that's the scene from here.
The National Weather Desk.
Today is the 24th anniversary of one of the most memorable weather events to hit Salt Lake City. Meteorologist Lindsay Storrs posted a recap of the storm to her Instagram account.
On August 11th, 1999, a powerful tornado moved right through the downtown area. It was ranked a strong F2 on the Fujita scale at the time. The tornado moved over the Delta Center, home of the Utah Jazz, where it broke windows and ripped off part of the roof. It also toppled outdoor tents at the Outdoor Retailers Convention that was being held that day. The Wyndham Hotel across the street had to be shut down for several days until all the damage there could be fixed. From there, the tornado crossed the construction site of the LDS Conference Center and made its way up Capitol Hill through Memory Grove and then into the Avenues neighborhood. The tornado was only on the ground for 10 minutes. It traveled a distance of almost 4 miles. It ended up killing one person, injured more than 80 people, and did $170 million worth of damage.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. Monday on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at why the invasive spotted lanternfly is spreading across the country. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Friday, and we'll see you right back here. Have a wonderful weekend.